And a very good morning to you from Mirador Television, broadcasting from the White Hart Hotel in Lewes, East Sussex, in the United Kingdom. And it is now 8:30. Well, it's 8:31 after we played those little intros. And we're ready to kick off our first half hour of the day, which is a look at the news, somewhat irreverently, but nonetheless, it's a look. Just to get you out of bed and fuming and worried and thinking how silly our society is. And it is bloody silly. But there we are. That's it. I hope that the hives with the bees and the colonies aren't as daft as we are. They have at least some sort of order and common sense, apparently. Anyway, that's my little start-off rant. Just a reminder that we have an election on May the 4th, a local election for the district council and the town council. Now, whatever you do, vote. Doesn't matter how you vote, vote. It is a privilege hard won over the centuries and shouldn't be just cast off as an irrelevance, because those people who don't vote, and that's 2/3 of us in local elections, those people who don't vote are the first to complain on social media when things go wrong. Well, you have no cause for complaint if you don't vote. So there you are. Nobody's going to listen to you, least of all us here on this television station, if you don't vote. If you do, you've got every right to have a go, the way that we do. We have a real go. We're not at all happy with local governance, and we say so. But we figure we've earned the right and the privilege, not least of which is because those people who appear on this television station in the main have kicked around the world, have been journalists for many, many years and have been to many, many places and seen many, many things and covered many, many stories. And that gives us some feel for what is right and what's wrong. We say we are local, but not parochial, and we are not parochial. We take the long view. So there you are. Well, let's now take a look at the front pages, shall we? And the Mirror is the first one to kick off, and the crisis in Sudan. The 71 NHS docks trapped, it says. And the medics are among 4,000 Brits stranded as the government told, get them out now. Well, there's been a lot of criticism and controversy over how we've handled the issue in the Sudan, but there is no question indeed, that the SAS have performed its usual miracles. I first came across them when I was in reporting in Northern Ireland. They are some unit. You don't want to cross the SAS, I'll tell you. Wake up in the morning with your throat cut. And what we've done is we've sent in the SAS to get some people out in the first instance, and they are masterminding how to get the rest out. But the fact of the matter is that there is a lot of criticism of the way that the Foreign Office has handled this. And I'm not a bit surprised. We are really not up to our sharpest in Westminster, or for that matter, the rest of the country, under this administration. And I don't mean the Tories necessarily. What I do is I mean that the whole of the governance, which includes all 650 MPs and God only knows how many thousands of civil servants, is they are not pulling their weight. They are getting much more interested in whether they can protect their free bars, subsidized meals, subsidized travel, and not a bit interested in what they are there for, and that is to look after the interests of the British citizen and to be our voice, our mouthpiece in the world while they're doing it. And it's time that we had something like this to shake us loose. The Sudan has always been difficult ever since General Gordon lost to the Mehdi there, and lost his life when he took on. And I was, I think it was about 2013 or thereabouts that I was asked to go to Sudan. And at the last minute, a similar situation broke out where there was violence. It wasn't that I ever ran away from violence. I went to the most violent places in the world, one way or another. But what I couldn't do is I could not tell the government, go and land an airplane there just for me. So I missed out on Sudan. But I did speak to several people, and including their ambassador here. And it's a very volatile part of the world. Anyway, the Times goes on with the similar story: a race against time to save 4,000 trapped in Sudan. And the Times covers the race against time to save the 4,000 British passport holders stranded amidst fighting in Sudan. Now, there is a later story that says that there has been a 24-hour truce or 72-hour truce. Well, anyway, a short truce being called amongst the paramilitaries who are fighting so that the international community can remove their nationals, the people that they have to look after. The trouble is with paramilitaries, when it's paramilitaries fighting one another, is you can never trust them to keep their word because they always look for the main chance. So let's hope that the people trapped in the Sudan, we get out. The Daily Telegraph changes. It still stays with the military, but it changes its theme. And the story there is Xi, that is the Chinese premier, prepares the biggest military buildup in history, it says. And that's a pretty unnerving thing because the Chinese have been getting more and more bellicose lately. And it makes you wonder what we're letting ourselves in for. And oh dear, hang on. Well, is unfortunately this. There we go. And in that same thing, there's. The Daily Telegraph reports that Foreign Secretary James Cleverly is going to urge China to reveal details about its biggest peacetime military buildup. In other words, why are you doing it, chaps? Why are you gathering your armed forces? Are you actually going to tip over? Now, our sources in the United States say no, he's not going to. He recognizes that at this particular stage, if he enters into a military conflict, then he wouldn't be ready. He wouldn't be able to follow up on it, and as a consequence, he would be on a losing ticket, much the same as President Putin has been. However, the fact of the matter is that I said Putin would invade when everybody else was saying he wouldn't. And what was that based on? Because I've worked in the Ukraine, I've worked in Russia, I know something of the way that they think, not a lot, but some. And it didn't surprise me when, in fact, Putin marched over the border. Everybody else said, ooh, Cantona. No, you have to take these things seriously. And if the Chinese are building up because of the situation with Formosa or Taiwan, as we now call it, is they put themselves into a situation from which they cannot step back, and that is something we must keep an eye on. And if it's the biggest military build-up in history, then that's something that we must pay attention to. Now, let's go to which paper is next? The Daily Mail, right? Okay. The Mail is having a go at the Prime Minister. And I suppose in some ways is quite right too. He and Jeremy Hunt have imposed a tax, or at least basically tourists can't get their money back on VAT. That's what it boils down to. So you removed the idea of cheap shopping in Britain, and the Prime Minister was pretty adamant that he wasn't going to change that until he met 200 businessmen, all of whom said to him, "Hey, listen, if this is a really own goal, you're going to drive tourists somewhere where they can get their shopping free of tax and low tax at that, and they're not going to come here." And apparently Sunak has said, "Okay, I hear what you're saying. I'll take a look at it." But Jeremy, who is not at this meeting, has said, "No, I've put this in place. My budget says this is where I'm going to get revenue. If you take that away, then where the hell am I going to fill the gap?" Well, it's not an unreasonable argument from Jeremy, because we've been giving money away like crazy and still are. So what we're going to be on about, heaven only knows. Oh dear. I'm not sure what for once what the Star is talking about. It says, "Fun sponge boffs to ban cosmic knee tremblers. Did the Earth move for you?" I'm really going to have to go back and see what that's all about, because it is not clear from the front page what on earth is going on there. Now we'll stay with Rishi, because he's on the Daily Express front page. A pledge from our Prime Minister to hearten Britain's women. And the Daily Express highlights Rishi Sunak's commitment to preserving women's rights in Britain. And I think we touched on this yesterday. He's busy strengthening legislation to retain Britain's women's rights. Frankly, I think that's a bunch of nonsense. All you really got to do is not strengthen their rights, but to make it a level playing field. That the way that we behave is the same for everybody, no matter what. No matter what your ethnicity, what your sexual preference, what your sex, male or female, is you name it, whatever is whatever you are. It should just all be equal. And why we're making specialist things for women, I have no idea. Well, I know, yes, there is discrimination. There's discrimination in the workplace and so on, but you don't have to have special legislation to go after bosses who will not make things right. Okay, now the eye has returned to the Sudan, and it says the stranded Brits face. Let's see. It says that the stranded Brits face a 3-day drive in Sudan war zone to reach Royal Navy ships which are standing off to take them on board and bring them back. And that is one of the things that is the government has been criticised for, is it has not got a decent plan in place. Not at all. And that we're all taking a risk and a chance. The Guardian, the CBI admits the future is in doubt after failing to filter out toxic people. I mean, that is all about it. There is a scandal in the CBI, which is the Confederation of British Industry, which is the flagship lobby group for British business. And what they're doing at the moment is staving off a whole bunch of scandals where even the boss at the CDI is accused of taking advantage of a lady or ladies and making sexual preferences not to her liking, as it were. And the whole culture of the CBI seems to have got out of kilter. And I've just said, why don't we make a level playing field instead of having women's rights and so on and so forth? And this is a prime example where these people, if they were doing this sort of thing, should have been hammered long ago. But no, because we got all this human rights and inhuman rights and upside down rights and so on and so forth. Is what do we have? Is we tie ourselves into knots so that these things go on for years and years and years before anybody does anything about them. It looks as if the CBI is going to collapse. Now, there is a rival organization that we don't hear much about, and I can't even remember its name offhand. But it's just not good enough. And we hear about ladies who join the armed forces and they go on exercises off to sea and so on. So the first thing we know is that some prat has tried to get into her cabin and into her knickers, and there's a whole issue. Well, that shouldn't happen. It shouldn't happen. I'm all for equality, and if we're equal under every section of the law. If some sailor tries to get into the trousers of a young male sailor, we first to jump up and down and say this shouldn't happen. We should be saying the same thing instead of, oh, she asked for it or whatever. It's all wrong. And it's all to do with the mindset. And God only knows how the young have got themselves into this sort of mindset. I don't know. But to me, at my age, it is quite clear. Quite clear. If you step out of line, you step out of line, and there's a punishment for it of some sort. It may be mild, it may be severe, depending upon the severity of the situation. But in terms of governance and law, shouldn't be any different. Okay, the Independent has gone on the fact that a British doctor was shot as UK troops land in Sudan to spearhead the mission. But the Financial Times is Jeremy Hunt is admitting corporate taxes are too high, and businesses urging the government to fulfil promises to improve relations with the private sector. Well, are they? Because once again, we keep on hearing about these promises. We're going to do this and we're going to do that. And we do not have a government. And when I talk about the government, I talk about the whole sphere, not just the cabinet, not just the Tories. We have a whole sphere that really doesn't seem to know very much about what should be done or how to do it or to take it terribly seriously. And it's a bit worrying, to say the least, that this sort of thing happens. And if Rishi is going to sort it out, then sort it out properly, Prime Minister. Get to the root of the thing, not to this surface way that we have of dealing with stuff. Yes. A bit of nuisance, isn't it? Okay, who's going to cover it up? Goes right back to Tony Blair. Really, one has to admit that it was even a bit before Tony Blair. We mustn't really put too much at his doorstep. But he was the one that introduced spin doctors. He was the one that introduced let's tell things in a coloured way, so it always looks as if the government is absolutely wonderful. Not good enough. Okay. The metro itself goes on. It goes on the situation with the Sudan, but its banner is the last waltz. It says Len Goodman, the judge on Strictly Come Dancing, who was a breath of fresh air, a lovely, lovely man, good television. Called it the way it was, but in such a charming way that people didn't even know they'd been stung. And he died over the last 24 hours, and he said that he went out with a smile on his face, having led a lifetime of entertaining. He was only 78, but he'd got a bone cancer diagnosis, and he was really an incredible character. But that just brings me to the way that our health service has been brought to its knees. Oh, yes, those people in the NHS can do no wrong, etc. And we've got good doctors and nurses. Don't ever let it be said that I criticize the doctors and nurses. But the death of this man highlights what the problem is. Up until we suddenly had this, and I can know, infirmary care, whatever the hell they call it now, as I was very happy for well over 30 years at my surgery at St. Andrews. I was well looked after. I would be seen at least once every 6 months, whether I needed it or not, just to check, to make sure that I was okay, and that we weren't focusing on my Parkinson's to the extent that I hadn't got anything else. Well, I haven't seen anybody from there. Parkinson's, yes, I have. But I haven't seen anybody from that surgery. My dedicated doctor, who's a lovely lady, she's not in charge of making the appointments. I haven't seen anybody for a year and a half. I have no idea whether, in fact, some of the things that are happening to me right now, the ill health that I'm experiencing, which I am a bit, is due to my Parkinson's, or whether I've got other things lurking there that are a bit dangerous, because nobody is checking. So I went down there. I went down to the surgery just last week, and I said, look, you sent me a letter. I've got a dedicated doctor. I want to make an appointment. I was standing there, right there. Lovely lady. She went onto the computer and said, no, I can't give you anything. We're booked up and we don't take anything after X number of months and so on and so forth. Oh, give me strength. Phone on one morning and make an appointment, she said. That's the way to do it. Have you tried that? We wouldn't be starting the news here until noon while I was waiting on the end of the phone, even if I started the phone at 7:30. And it's not good enough, along with other forms of governance in this country, in this town. It is not good enough, and it needs looking at. I've been treated by Jason Heath, the senior doctor there, and a very good doctor he is. And you feel very satisfied to be in his capable hands. But as an administrator, he really painting the sky red. He really isn't. And actually, I don't care. He's got to put it in the hands of other capable people. And for that matter, if I was him, I would start to disassemble what he put together, because it isn't working. This whole idea of bigger and better, it is not working. The only thing it does do is it makes COVID shots after a false start, makes COVID shots much easier to handle en masse. But the rest of the things are just absolutely hopeless, absolutely hopeless. Now, this television station gets itself into a real twist, gets itself all turned upside down. The reason being is I am a lousy administrator. I am a lousy manager. I'd like to think I'm not a bad broadcaster. I'm not a bad visionary when it comes to what we should be doing. But I'm a lousy manager, and I don't mind admitting it. And I'm taking every steps that I can to get somebody to take this organization by the scruff of the neck and turn it into a successful one. And Jason Heath do the same. Let somebody take this thing. You're brilliant in terms of the way that you look at things, but it just isn't working. So therefore, what's got to happen is it's got to either be reshaken, revised, or put back to where it was. It is not satisfactory at the moment. There, Len Goodman, you really helped. Right. Well, that broadly is the papers for the morning, and we'll hide dear old Len. It's 8:57. We're almost there, and when we take a break, whoops, and let's just see if we can. No, I don't know why. Oh, here we are. Yeah, maybe that one of those things which I'm able to. I'm minus a mouse this morning. For some reason, the mouse decided not to do anything. There we go. Here we go. Ooh, what a bunch of nonsense. Now, just to alert you that although it's going to be 12 degrees later on, right now the temperature is only climbing, and it's only 4 degrees outside. Mostly sunny, but only 4 degrees, and that's cool. So be careful when you go out. Don't think that you're walking into a summer's day. It's 9 o'clock. We're going to take a break for half an hour, and then we'll be back. So rejoin us in half an hour or so.